You got it.
Welcome back to another episode of Line Breaking.
I'm Charleton.
And I'm Rosalie.
Taking a deep dive into the arts of mime and choreography. So I have a question for you.
What's that?
What is 4 + 4?
8.
Okay, next question. So if a vampire bites you, but it's only like 1/6 of a bite, what is it?
That would be a bit, wouldn't it?
That would be a bit.
Yeah.
And then what are we here talking about all the time? Our Lord and Savior?
Cheese?
Cheese. Yes.
Jesus.
Put that all together, you got 8-bit Jesus.
8-bit Jesus.
No, Jesus.
Jesus. Yeah.
8-bit Jesus. That's the song for today.
Cool. So 8-bit Jesus is this ridiculous song that
It's so ridiculous.
Myself, Alex,
This one's
Zobel,
getting copyright stricken, so please like and subscribe. Like,
Yeah.
we need our help on the algorithm because it's gonna go dang because it's cool Mario music.
Yeah,
Man.
it's Mario
If
music.
you ever wondered if there's a mime for Mario music, this one is it.
Yep. So myself, Alex Zobel, and Jarek Lilly, we all got together at Mime Camp, years ago, and we just had fun choreographing a dumb song.
So dumb.
And the idea was we just really wanted to use like some video game music. And I forget who had the exact idea, but we ended up stopping with the Super Mario Brothers Overworld theme
Classic.
from like SMB1.
Yeah.
And it was awesome. And then somewhere in there, we had like this crazy idea to do a little glitch effect, but we'll get to that later.
Because then you invent a new technique for this song.
Yes, that's something else. We invented a new technique, sort of loosely based off the robot that we called 8-bit technique. 8-bit Jesus, of course.
Do you have official technique video on that one?
I think I do, actually.
Yeah, link it down below.
And so basically the long and short of it is the 8-bit technique was designed specifically for the song. It's never been used in any other song.
Yeah, never again.
In order to make you as a character look like you're in a frame by frame kind of.
Right, you're a sprite kind of idea.
Yeah, and so it ends up being pretty quickly like you go from one frozen pose to another in a very harsh, fast way with lots of tucks.
I feel like we should clarify I was not talking about Sprite the soda, but like in video game language.
Yeah, for the non-nerds out there.
Just to be fair. Yeah, like an 8-bit little character.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, editor Charleton, I need an 8-bit Charleton and an 8-bit running around on stage. I just added hours to his life. Right? So I stole hours from his life. What are we doing here? No. 8-bit Jesus. We're really good in the song.
Okay. So this is one that was done in 2016, which is a year after we choreographed it. And this was like a full team version that we did. So yeah, you can kind of see like the 8-bit technique of people just clicking from one place to another.
I just love the God character doing the back and forth as well as the Satan character. Like normally, Satan's like more swoopy and, it's beautiful.
Yep. And one of the things that we emphasized was everything happens on the beat. So this would be technically the most cue intensive song of any song in existence.
Right. You can't do anything off the beat.
Yeah. Everything is on the beat, including just regular motions and even standing still and doing nothing.
Well, even there, like the timing of like, okay, we got 2 people, good side, bad side, like you're telling the story really well here, but that means those cues have to hit at the same time in order to get there.
Yep. And so this is kind of an office scene. This whole story is meant to be just kind of a silly, simple one, where you have they start out their day together in kind of the same way. They go to work together. The guy on stage left, he gets fired because he didn't cheat on his work at his job, and then guy on stage right ended up doing something wrong. He got a promotion. It's not fully clearly communicated, in my opinion, but.
Yeah, because it's hard to catch those nuanced details, especially with the added style of the 8-bit thing. But I am getting the picture of like, it's the trope of 2 stories, right? Mm-hmm. One good, one bad. Jesus did a lot of those parables that way. So it has clarity of like, oh, so one thing didn't go well for him, even though it should, but he did something wrong. So it's kind of there. It's just the level of detail.
Right. All right, and then this is the part where we have the epic boss battle between God and Satan. And they're like, oh, and then,
yeah. So what's everyone else doing on the side? They're
all cheering. And then we have this classic moment with Satan.
They just ran out like.
Oh man! And so then we have like the two main characters get together and ministers to him because the guy
Classic.
who followed God is evangelizing. And then we have one of my favorite moments coming up here in a few seconds. This is just like we did a bunch of ridiculous things. Yeah, the NPCs in the background are still like stuck in the cutscene for the boss battle.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little dead time here, but I reckon this was at mine.
Yeah, here we go. So we're all glitched out.
What in the world?
Gosh, that was such a fun moment. So we literally have somebody from the audience run up and like pull out the cartridge and blow it out like you did in the old cartridge games, and then shove it back in, and then you're ding, like, all right, cool, and then leave.
What a meme!
So
That's really great.
We had way too much fun choreographing this song. Yep, and so then finally it concludes with both of them going peacefully together, and apparently the Star Spangled Banner. But don't
worry about that. So that's our song.
Yeah.
Clarity, difficult. No, sorry.
Oh man.
So yeah, what would you say the purpose and message of this song?
So purpose was we were just having fun, but
yeah, to me,
it was meant to be like. We wrote this partly in response to the fact that there are so many like serious songs and not a lot of goofy songs that kind of like get the energy going. This is what I would call
an intro song,
an introductory.
Yeah,
because like the message is really shallow. It's not like maybe the craziest, groundbreaking message.
Person on the street's gonna be like, "Is that Mario music? Is that a mime?" And then that's all you need.
Exactly. You got the draw in really hard, and it's got a bunch of like little itty bitty bits here and there that make it so if you come in, let's say halfway through or something, you can generally kind of laugh at some of the silly things going on. And if you miss part of the message, it's like, whatever, it's generic Christian stuff. So you can kind of get it.
Yeah.
So as far as that goes, it's like, it's an opener. Message is really simple, gospel type message in like a modern setting of, good versus evil and, God being victorious over evil and things like that.
Pretty straightforward.
Super straightforward, simple message.
But that's its purpose. Yeah, it's simple. Open it. Good things about the song. I mean, the technique is pretty fun.
Yeah.
There's
like,
nothing.
This team, I had to work with them for a long time because I ended up teaching this team at the 2016 Mime Camp how to do all the 8-bit technique. And it took a while, but I think they ended up doing it pretty well, honestly. Yeah. Like maybe not perfect, but like they got the idea of every cue is every beat and really clicky and things like that ended up
it has the benefit of being a good technique teaching song. So if you want people to learn how to do cues, learn how to do things together and rhythm and all those are aspects that help your team learn those, get better at tucks for sure. So it has those benefits in addition to just being a cool technique to watch. Yeah. But it does mean like as far as difficulty, we're going to talk about it.
Yeah, we'll get there.
yeah, difficulty is going to go. Other good aspects?
Good aspects, I think, using unique music and having, like this was one of the earlier versions, so I edited the song and added, and we added the first times that we've edited. It was one of the first times that I specifically edited music. I guess technically, I think
that's like
I think Jarek did.
We just do that all the time now. It's like,
yeah, now we do that.
Can you cut these parts out? Yeah, sure, just whatever.
Right, but this was like one of the first ones that I edited the music on to make it do what I wanted it to do.
Yeah,
and I think it
opened some doors there because we've done that a lot. Link down below for "I'll follow Christ." Not "I will follow Christ." No, it's "I'll follow Christ" because
it's just slightly shorter.
Slightly shorter in one section. No, I do love the creative aspects of it too. The sword fight is fun. The implementation of like the blowing of the cartridge. So all of the fun aspects of it to keep the audience entertained because sometimes you can have a 3-act structure where it kind of has a little lull. It keeps that energy moving though.
Yeah, and during the actual presentation, like people were just rolling in their seats
because they should.
Every single like new scene that got in what? Every single scene that got introduced, it was like something goofy would happen and people are laughing, people are getting references and getting the memes and everything. It's
good on.
It's pretty good.
Things you would critique on at this point.
My biggest critique is its message.
Yeah,
because it's a pretty like bare bones, straightforward, in some cases unclear message and storyline. Like that's not the purpose of it. It's meant to be entertaining.
I do like there's some cool aspects of it, like the duology of having, good and bad side, and how the good side doesn't just do good at work, but rather it's like a little bit more deep of message. The fact that because they didn't cheat, things didn't work out for them, and so it kind of has this like, hey, I did the right thing, God, what? So it has a little bit of a deeper message there. I just wish that it was a little clearer, and I think that's either timing or somehow implementing that. I also felt like from there, a big jump to the sword fighting scene. It was like, why are we doing this fight? Like, it's cool, like, don't get me wrong. It just, the storyline needed a bridge, if you would, to get there.
Right. Yeah.
Clear line.
Yeah. And I don't know if I mentioned this, but like we choreographed this in like 2 hours or something.
Of course you did.
Because it was a classic, secret project for Mime Camp. And so we just threw it together in like 2 hours where you're having fun.
Should have a playlist of all the songs that were secret projects at Mime
Camp. the ones that had like less than 2 hours of time from creation of like conception until presentation was how much work it had.
Earlier this month, look at PB&J, the musical.
Yeah, it's another one of those. I had like half an hour.
And then JoJo and Jehovah we just did a week or two ago. Like,
yeah.
Yeah. We got all of the short songs this month, apparently.
Yeah.
Theologically, I like the fact that Jesus did a lot of parables of like this guy or that guy. The Proverbs were like, you can be the wise guy or the fool. And so you do have that classic trope, but it works well because it's super clear that having God and Satan stand behind people will be like, oh, that's the bad side. So clarity in that way. And I think the ultimate results of that kind of lifestyle.
Yep. And, theologically, one of the issues that some people had that I kind of agree with is like in the sword fight scene, that God takes a hit before, beating Satan. Some people took issue with that. And for me, what I would say is like, didn't Jesus die?
Right.
He took a hit, didn't he?
That's it. It's complicated. It's got the Father, got the Son. But nevertheless, there is what is it? Genesis 3:16 message of like how the Messiah will crush the serpent's head, but by being bitten by him, kind of the idea. So yeah, there is some of that level. But when you're just showing a sword fighting scene, it does look like he's on equal par as opposed to winning. I like some of the other fun depictions. What is the one I'm thinking of? Is it Satan Bite the Dust, or is it like there's another song that it's silly, the fight that happens between them where Satan just whiffs every punch, and I don't know, I find that comical.
The Champion?
The Champion, yeah.
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
That was a good depiction of that kind of same idea. It's done comically, so I don't know if there's a way to do it in this song because it's kind of 8-bit Jesus, but nevertheless, I think don't need to take it that seriously. Like, yes,
it's meant to be silly.
If Satan and Jesus were in a sword fight, Jesus would win, and that I think we can relax a little bit.
Yeah,
but I'm just a heretic here.
Just heresy.
10% less heresy in all of our songs. All right, clarity, difficulty. I know. I'm going to try that again. Clarity, difficulty, style.
Yep. So, clarity, first of all, probably gets its lowest ratings because message is probably my biggest.
That inverse relationship between style and
So clarity, I don't know. We've already talked pretty much in depth about how it doesn't get the message across really well. It's got some points with it where like you kind of get the good versus evil side and you get the general gist of things, but by and large it's like it's okay.
It's probably a song that's worth redeeming. Gotta overcome some of those barriers and polish out some of those things. I'm gonna give it a 5 on clarity. It's right there. It's like maybe you're like, oh, why that? Oh, but because it's introductory song, you're gonna get it. It's fine.
Yeah, I think I'm leaning toward a 4 or 5. I'm gonna go 4.
Yeah, it's fine.
Maybe I'm more critical of my own song, but like most of it is because like this is almost 10 years ago now.
Yeah.
And wrote it. That would have been 9 years ago that I wrote that song. And so like I've grown as a person, I've grown as a mime and, understood things better. So I would have written it a bit differently if I wrote it today. And one of the biggest things would be the message would be clear. And so I have to critique, past Charleton.
About to say, they say hindsight's 2020, which is terrifying because 2020 was terrible.
Yep. There's a theory that time travelers came back in time and they were trying to warn people about 2020, and they said, hindsight's 2020. And so people were looking back at 2020 and being like, oh man, we really need to see that. But then when they went back in time to before 2020 and they started saying that and it caught on, a bunch of people were like, oh, 2020, like 2020 vision. And they didn't realize that they were talking about the year 2020.
Dang, that's prophetic, man. So difficulty. It's a pretty difficult song. You probably have more experience than that one. I was gonna say technique-wise and cue-wise, it's high ratings on that because if you don't get the technique, you kind of lose what makes it special.
Yeah,
so
you super lose the effect. Like if you were to do that same song without the 8-bit technique, it's a really mediocre song.
Oh, exactly, and that's why I'm gonna say like 8, because if you lose it, it's not there.
Yeah, from having to teach it, I'd say I'm gonna give it a 9 because like it's something that is an advanced technique for like more advanced mimes, but having to have the entire team do it, whether the person just joined or whether they've been in it for 50 years, like you have to teach every single person across the board in order to make it work.
Now it helps. Back row is not nearly as hard. Like it was pretty minimal. Some of
you can laze out a little bit, but like you still have to do that and be still in sync. So it still has that difficulty with it, but you know, if you laze out a little bit, it's not as big a deal.
Yeah. Style wise though, it's got a lot of style, man.
It's got a lot of style.
Is there any other song with 8-bit technique? No. Never been. Never has been.
Probably
never will be because it's that bad. No. But yeah, I'd give a lot of style. I think the overarching story of the message is where it would get lower because it's pretty generic in that way. But the sword fight goes back up, so I'm gonna give it a 7. It's got some good style.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning a little bit higher because first of all, like we're talking about breaking bounds.
Yeah,
this literally created a new technique in order to do this song.
Touche.
And it's got a bunch of silly, funny things. That was a huge gap in the market, if you will, for mime songs. And so I don't know. I'm gonna give it like an 8.
8 is great for 8-bit Jesus.
8-bit Jesus, 8.
Yeah, it's funny. Hey, that ruins the sound.
Hey, editor Charleton, you're gonna have to mute that.
All to say, links down below for things we referenced. Have fun commenting down there because again, the YouTube algorithm will not like what we do. So what do they need to do?
They think they need to. What's the word?
Yeah. Do it.
Mash that like subscribe. You know.
Yeah, that's all they need to do.
Yeah.
I'm Samuel.
And I'm Charleton.
Breaking the line.